Hi, I'm Jen. I'm the maker behind Space for Sunflowers, a hand knit and crochet business based in the Raleigh, North Carolina region. I have been toying with the idea of starting a YouTube channel for a little bit, mostly avoiding instead of toying with it, but I have decided to bite the bullet and dive right in. So, welcome. I have dubbed my channel Crafty Business Chaos because I'm sure this will be chaotic. If not today, then at some point it will be chaotic. So welcome. I'm glad that you're here. Let's talk crafty small business things. First, I'll start with a little intro into my business and how I got started. I started about a year ago with the business Space for Sunflowers, though I have been crocheting and knitting for a large part of my life. I learned how to crochet when I was, I think, about 10 years old, starting with Afghans and just something to do to keep my hands busy. I've always been a very active person, can't sit still, so to help wind down at the end of the day, it's always helped me to have a craft, something that I can keep my hands busy while my mind sort of just tunes out and slows down for the day. So started with making Afghans, kind of left it at that for a bit, and then when I was in college, I for some reason really wanted to learn how to knit. So I bought a book. I spent some time on YouTube. Yes, YouTube was around even back when I was in college. And taught myself how to knit as well and began making sweaters and hats and scarves and all sorts of things, baby blankets. When my kids were born, the first thing that I made was actually a pair of sandals for my daughter for a beach trip. I crocheted her a pair of little infant sandals that were soft and never stayed on her feet because baby shoes never do. So that's sort of been the journey. The transition into a business was brought on by my friend Christine from What's Up Cupcake Crafts. Absolutely go visit her channel. Her YouTubes are solid. She knows what she's doing. But anyway, she messaged me. Actually, I think she called me last year around this time. No, it was July. Our first market was around this time. And floated the idea of like, hey, we like to make things and we make too many things. Should we do crochet businesses together? And I'm like, yeah, we should do that. 100% we should do that. And so we did. And we started, like I said, doing markets together. About this time last year, we did our first market at a garden center in Raleigh, and we split a booth. We did a few of those throughout the fall. And then eventually we both just grew to the point where we were making so many things we could fill our own booths by ourselves. And we've now done that, which is incredible. So again, go check out her channel. Amazing. She does all kinds of crochet and crafty things. In addition to making crochet items, she also makes things for crocheters. Amigurumi sticks. These are hers that she made. Super cute. She has stitch markers, amigurumi sticks, safety eye installers, safety eyes, her hand painted safety eyes. So cute. Anyway, go check her out. That's how I got started. And then I found that I really love doing the in-person markets. Extrovert by nature. Can't tell because I'm super awkward talking to a camera, but extrovert by nature. Love to get out and talk to people and be at a market and just the whole energy, and it's so fun. So yeah, stuck with it, and this is now, I'm closing out my first year of being in business, which is very exciting. So that's me. So for today's video, I wanted to talk through kind of a recap of September. We're just getting started into the market season, fall, holidays, people getting back to shopping. So it's a good time to recap the past couple of markets that I have done in anticipation of my upcoming schedule, which is jam-packed. Let me tell you, I am hitting this market season at a sprint. Even though it's a marathon, I'm hitting it at a sprint and hope to just keep on going through the whole season. So yeah, let's get into it. My first market that I did in September was not a themed market, just a regular vendor pop-up market. It was with an organizer called Community Pop-Ups NC. I had never done a market with them before. I had never done a market at the location we were at before. And I had seen it around, advertised quite a bit throughout the year. And I think just timing, the stars had never aligned where I was available and able to apply for the market until September. And it did, and it was fantastic. So happy I did this market. I would love to do this market again. I would love to work with this organizer again. They were great. Had a great day. The market itself was located in Wendell, which is just outside of Raleigh on the eastern side. Cute little town. I have friends that live there. Had been there before, but had never been to the shopping center, which was called Treelight Square. Adorable shopping center. Has a square, as you can imagine, in the middle of it with like a little grassy area and shops and restaurants around. And then the market had vendors set up there and also down one parking row. So I was set up in the parking row, which was kind of great because there were two of us crochet vendors at this market. We were not inside of each other. So it was spread out, which was perfect because if it's oversaturated, then people just, they get overwhelmed or they go to, it's very hard when it's oversaturated in the same thing that you make. So having only one other crochet vendor there and having us separated from each other was perfect. I hope she did well. I didn't get a chance to go take a look at her booth since we were busy the entire time we were there, but I did well. I hope she did well. It seemed like a good setup. My booth was set up, situated by this coffee shop, which, oh my goodness, a line out the door, 3 booths deep all morning long, this coffee shop. I would have loved to have sampled their coffee because clearly they're doing something right, but between how busy the booth was and how long the line was all morning, there was just never a time to go check out the coffee shop and see what all the fuss was about. But brought in lots of foot traffic, so that was great. I was also across the way from a lemonade vendor. It was a hot day. They were getting lots of business. I love this lemonade vendor. I had done other markets where they were at before, so I kind of had started talking to them, which was great. It was good to see a familiar face, and also the lemonade is just so good. They come in these giant, I call them buckets. My daughter was like, it's not a bucket, but it looks like a bucket with a straw, and then they put like gummy things all over the lid of your lemonade. And so like you have like the lemonade, which is always has a fun flavor. Like my daughter got a cotton candy one, so the lemonade tasted like cotton candy, and it had a giant like mound of cotton candy built up on top of the lid in addition to it. And the one that I got was, I think it was the shark attack because I wanted the gummy sharks on top, but it was so good. So loved that. And yeah, it was a great day. Booth got lots of attention, lots of traffic. I brought a wide variety of things with me, as I always do. I have a set list of a certain themes that I try to hit, and I always try to have something from each theme there so that there's a wide range of items. The common thread through my makes is that they usually are natural related. I like things that sort of have this natural look to them. Wouldn't really call it rustic, but I'll show you some things that I've made this week as we get into it, and you'll see what I mean. But yeah, space for sunflowers. The name came from sunflowers being my favorite flower, but then just how this is sort of my headspace for things that bring me joy, which includes nature and being outside and that sort of stuff. So things that remind me of nature are definitely what I gravitate toward in my makes. And that's sort of the common thread, even though I have a lot of different themes that I have a wide variety. So like I do fantasy, I do gaming, I do flowers, I do cottagecore, boho chic, woodland creatures, ocean, aquatic life, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, the common thread being that they all kind of look natural when they're put together. So yeah. Anyway, back to the market. Lots of attention and traffic at the booth. We had a great day. Yeah, it was really great. I had been testing out a new make at this market since my second market that I was scheduled for in September had a wizarding theme, kind of Harry Potter adjacent. So I made these mystery boxes of the Hogwarts house mascots. So I made lions, badgers, snakes, and ravens, and I put them in each one in a box. I have a number discreetly on the bottom of the box that I know correlates with which house, so I know what I'm selling. And then I put a sticker on the front of the Hogwarts crest. But instead of like the actual Hogwarts crest, I kind of made a simplified version of it and put a picture of each make where the mascot goes so that they could see on the box, you will get one of these items in the box. And I had brought, that was made specifically for the second market, but I brought them with me to this market to test the interest ahead of time to see how it would go. And there was a lot of interest. I only sold 2 boxes at this market, but so many people like came up and they're like, oh my gosh, look at the mystery boxes. And I was like, yeah, and they're the Hogwarts houses. And they're like, oh, you get sorted into your houses. And I was like, exactly. And so that made me feel really good and confident ahead of the wizard market that they were so well received at a market that wasn't specifically tailored for that. So that's awesome. That was good. The plushies in general had a lot of interest, a lot of sales. People just, I can't say enough how great of a day it was and how amazing the organizers were. Everything was so well thought out and laid out, and they checked in throughout the day and laughed with me when I ran over one of their cones during load in because I am a mess. So, but yeah, they were fantastic. Very nice people. I made sure to tell them at the end that, like, this was great. I would love to do another market with you all again. Loved it. They stopped by for feedback sort of partway through the market, which is awesome. I've done so many markets where like the organizer is MIA, or they're like, I'll be over here if you need me, but they don't come and make rounds and check in. So it was really great. They were very attentive. Awesome organizers. Yeah, in terms of hard numbers and sales, I have it up on my computer over here, which is why I'm not looking at you, but I'm looking at that. So yeah, the booth fee was $95, typical booth fee for this area. Outdoor market, so for that we got a 10 by 10 space, no electricity, very typical. Bring all of your own setup, tent, weights, tables, shelving, the works. This was my first market that I had bought a folding bookcase to display things. I have a couple of tables in my booth set up, which I'll post a picture. It's kind of nice that this wall is nice and blank, so I can post something right there. So you can see my booth set up. But yeah, I've got a couple of tables. I have some swinging, hanging planter baskets that I sort of am modifying into be dragon's nests. Which, yep, you'll see. And then I have like a folding plant stand that I put on one of the tables and a bookshelf. So this was the first market that I had this full setup. I have been piecing it together throughout the past year. And this is the first one with that setup. It worked really well. I don't know if it saved me any time in any actual setting up of the booth, but I felt more organized. So that's a good thing. And everything folds flat, whereas before I had kind of cobbled together a booth with old like rolling carts that I had from around the house, left over from back when like my husband and I were in college. Yeah, my tables are our camping tables. It is what it is, but I have like tablecloths that cover them. But like things didn't always fold down flat with what I had before. And I finally have invested in some pieces to be dedicated for the markets, and that fold down flat and fit in my car a lot better. And I don't feel like I'm banging things together and scraping things up and causing chaos before I even get there. So that was good. So yeah, $95, 10 by 10 booth. They had everything well marked, spaced, and organized. The vendor next to me didn't end up showing up, so we had a little extra space. And even though we were sort of on the end of the parking row of booths and the person next to me hadn't shown up, it didn't feel empty because, like I said, across from me was the lemonade vendor. There was a plant vendor a few booths down, which was perfect because the things that I sell kind of coordinate with plants sometimes. I have hanging plant holders, so that was great. Yeah, so it didn't feel empty. Lots of foot traffic. That was great. Yeah, total sales for that day was, the net total was $490.50. $12.91 of that went toward fees. I use Square for my markets, so that means that I made $398.41 in card sales and $105 in cash. So yeah, about $13 in fees, $25.41 in taxes. So all that's reduced out. I haven't done the math, but it's about $450 in sales minus then the booth fee. So we're looking at what, $360 in sales? Having this be the first market of kind of the season, it was a very, very encouraging day. Went well. I was very happy about that. Total items sold were 32 items sold, 24 sales, 32 items sold. Yeah, so that's good. Best sellers for this market were plushies. It's always plushies. I shouldn't say it's always plushies. I shouldn't say that. It's often plushies, let's say. And filter by item. Bestsellers by actual items. I have these mini flying dragons that sold really well. I hang them on some S-hooks up by the hanging planters that I have at the front of my booth that are becoming the dragon's nest. And then these are like little flying, I wish I had one close by. I'll put a picture again. My Vanna arms right there. But this adorable little flying dragon pattern from Avalon Crochet, and they sold well. I had 3 of those sales, and then also big seller for this market was my own pattern, which are these adorabers that I have on my Instagram. Free pattern, you can download it or screenshot it. Actually, you can download it on Ravelry for free or screenshot it on my Instagram for free. And yeah, they're just a quick little make. They have little, I make it out of these, this honey bunny yarn from Premier. It's got this fluffiness to it, and then put little faces on it that I embroider. I did an Instagram reel where I showed you the embroidery for the adorabers, and then I stuffed them with poly pellets to give them a little bit of heft, and then some polyfills so that they're also squishy. They make fantastic little stress balls. This one is mine because yellow is my favorite color, and I needed a happy little face to join me at my desk. So yeah, so that felt good, having my pattern be one of the best sellers for the day. And then the Hogwarts mystery boxes did well. I sold a couple of those, as well as a pattern from Green Frog Crochet for Creamoo cows, which are super cute. They're these little ice cream cones, and then you can slide the ice cream part off, and there's a mini cow inside. And then the pattern includes directions for adding a strap to it, so it can be like a little purse. Oh my gosh, so cute. those were a market debut. Also, the Hogwarts Mystery Box was a market debut at this market, and so having those two items get a lot of attention and a couple sales at the first market that they showed up at was awesome. Really great. The Hogwarts Mystery Boxes, I got the patterns from 3 of the patterns. The lion, the badger, and the raven were from Poggy's Place, and I will link all of the pattern designers that I mention or forget to mention for patterns that I talk about or show in the video down below in the description. So those 3 were from Poggy's Place. Great makes for mystery boxes. They work up super fast. The lion had a little bit more to it. I had to try to figure out how to do, I think, a loop stitch. And for some reason, I chose to make my lion's mane in a variegated yarn. Not the best mix for doing a loop stitch and a variegated yarn. I actually have the yarn right here. I don't have the lion right here, but I have the yarn right here in a hot mess. Again, chaos. But yeah, trying, and it's like brown and black. So like trying to do a loop stitch with this variegated brown and black yarn for the first time. I think my first lion took 4 or 5 tries. It took forever, but we got it in the end, and they came out so cute for the little lions. But yeah, practice before you do it in variegated for the first time, because that was an adventure. So yeah, those 3 were from Poggy's Place, and then the snakes that I used for Slytherin was a free Instagram pattern, and I'm trying to remember the pattern designer's name. I don't think I can, but I will, again, post it, and I'll post a link directly to that pattern down below. So yeah, super cute. Those did well. Other items that I had that sold, I had some spiders that I had made for Halloween coming up. One of those sold. Sharks, oh my gosh, I cannot keep sharks in stock. I don't make a ton of them, but every time I have the sharks, they are just snatched right up. And that is from the Yarning Portal. That's another free pattern from the Yarning Portal. And people love them. It's a love the sharks. I love the sharks. They're super cute. Couple of floral sea turtles. I make those from Passionate Crafters pattern. They made rose sunflowers, basic sea turtles. They have a watermelon. I haven't made the watermelon, but I've done the rose, the daisy, and the sunflower, as well as the plain sea turtle, and people go crazy over those. That's been true since my first market last year. Everyone's always loved the floral sea turtles, the floral sea turtles, which they're really cute. Had an owl sold, mushroom pops, hedgehogs, dumpling kitties, chickens, axolotls, pumpkins, and then some accessories like a coaster set. I had a Monstera coaster set, a plant hanger, which was sold to this little girl. It was so cute. She and her sister came into the booth with their family, and the kids were allowed to each pick out something, and the little girl, I have my planters hanging vent, and she pointed up to them and was like, I want that. And I have like one hanging with a plant inside of it so you can see what it is, and then the rest all hang behind it. And she's like, I want that. And the parents were like, I don't think that's a purse. I think that's like a decoration to hang a plant in. And she's like, I know, I want that. And I kind of was chuckling about it, watching this whole exchange, and leaned in and was like, you know, she has this all planned out, because 2 booths up, there's a vendor selling plants. So she's thought this through, and the parents laughed, and it was very cute. And she was thrilled. She got her hanging planter, and it was adorable. Very adorable exchange. I love things like that at markets, when like little cute things happen. So anyway, sold some of those, a headscarf, a scrunchie, and a Korok plush. So it was a great day. Lots of different things, lots of different types of things sold. Overall, I was very pleased with how this market went. The next weekend, I had another market, the Wizard Market. This was with a different organizer, one that I've done a few markets with. around the triangle. This market was in Apex at a farm. It's called a farm. I think it's really just, I don't know if it's a farm, but it's called a farm. It's a field, and I think they rent it out for events. So there's really no reason to go to this field unless you know of an event that's happening and you're going to that event that's happening. So they do quite a few of these markets there. The organizer is called Geek and Grub, and they always have a geek theme for their markets. I've done others in the past. I've done, let's see, early in the winter, I did their gaming market. And then in the summer, I did their fantasy markets. The gaming market was inside in a location in Durham. And then the fantasy market was also outside at this farm in Apex. And then this was their wizard market. And these markets are always so fun because people come dressed up every time. There's cosplayers, there's geeky vendors, there's activities. It's more of a festival, like a one-day festival versus an actual market. And I can say that that's both a positive and a negative when it comes to this market. This market never does as well for me as some of the others that I do, including the one in Wendell the week before. It's never, well, I shouldn't say never. One was an actual bust for me, but the two that I've done in Apex are never an all-up bust. There's a lot of traffic, there's a lot of interest, but because they do these once a month and they're always paired with events and raffles and the timing of some of the things that they do, it's just not as big of a selling market for me. It's always fun to be there, love to be there, but the booth is a little bit on the expensive side. It's closer to $110, maybe $120 for a 10 by 10, no electricity, set it all up yourself booth. And so that's one of the downsides. And the other is, like I said, that people don't tend to spend as much at this market because they come for something to do with their family, which is awesome. And it's fun, like I said, to see the people, to talk to the people, to get to take in all of the amazing costumes that people put on. My gosh, oh my God. Somebody at this one, I'm not even sure what they were dressed as, but they had this, they were on stilts on their hands, probably on their feet too, but like they were up on stilts and they were walking like as if they had four legs, and they were dressed as this like forest creature, and it was amazing. And this market was hot. Like it was a night market, but it was on a day that was like 95 degrees in Raleigh. September 95 degrees, that's not unheard of. It is hurricane season. So we're definitely not yet through the transition into the cooler weather. It was humid, it was hot, it was sticky, and just seeing people show up in their cosplays, and my daughter was with me at this market. We were super impressed. There were, of course, a lot of Hogwarts houses represented. We kind of joked that there were, during the daylight hours, all we could see were Hufflepuffs. And then we kind of made a joke to each other because my daughter's a Slytherin. I'm a Gryffindor. And I was like, the Slytherins don't come out until sunset, after dark. And she was like giving me faces, but then it was hilarious. As soon as the sun went down, no Hufflepuffs left in sight. All the Slytherins, they all came out. And we had seen Slytherins during the day, but like it became just Slytherin after dark. So we thought that was pretty funny. We're like, on brand. So that was hilarious. The cosplay is always fun. The events they do are fun. They were doing wizard duels, Dobby sock tosses, like just very cute family fun activities. However, they do take away from the shopping of the markets. And that's one of the biggest downsides that I find to this market, because they're 5-hour markets, always 5-hour markets. And every single time I've been to one, I have said that I'm happy to be there. It's been super fun. I wish this market was an hour and a half shorter, because start strong, go strong for the first, 3.5 hours. The last hour and a half is always dead. They do their final raffle in the last half hour of the market, and the vendors are asked to not break down until after the raffle is over. The raffle does not happen near the vendor booths. It happens somewhere else. Not like somewhere else. I mean, it's on site, obviously, but like not within where the vendor booths are. It's off to the side. So the whole crowd is drawn away from the vendors for the last half hour of the booth of the market. And then once the raffle is over, there's no more incentive to come back and continue shopping, because the way to earn raffle tickets is by shopping the vendors beforehand. So they always do at least one raffle early in the market, within the first 30, 45 minutes, which is really fast. And then one kind of a little bit later on where it feels more natural, and then one at the end. Sometimes, I think this one only had 2 raffles. So it was one at the very beginning and one at the very end. And it was dark. It was a night market. So it was dark. It was buggy. It had been hot. The vendors were all just standing there at our booths waiting for the raffle to wrap up so that we could pack up and start to clear out. I guess my one suggestion for this vendor or this organizer would be that the raffle is a great way to wrap up the entire event. Let the vendors pack up during the raffle, as long as we can do it quietly. I mean, we were outdoors at this one. I can understand if it's an indoor space, it'd be too loud to be doing the raffle and the pack up at the same time. But, or do the raffle, I don't know. It's just awkward to have it end with a raffle with the vendors still standing around, because we don't know what to do during that time. Nobody's shopping. Everybody has finished their shopping. They're waiting for their number to be called or not be called. And then everybody goes home at the end. So it's a little weird. Other than that, super fun. The markets, like I said, sales weren't as strong at this market as the one the week before. I'll get into that. Let's get into that right now, actually, since I'm pulling it up. So my total sales were $249.67 at this market. Like I said, the booth fee was a little bit higher, about $110, $115, I think, once the fees got tacked on. $193.67 of that was card, $56 in cash. I paid $6.98 in credit card fees and $12.67 in taxes at this market. So all told, about $210. Take out your booth fee, we're left with about $100 profit at the end of the day for 5 hours. That's significant, and that's not something to sort of take lightly when you're considering your time and the setup and the breakdown and the travel, since it was not immediately close by to where I live. It was within an hour, but it's travel. So yeah, fun day, fun time. Definitely not a market where you're there for the sales. It's more for the vibes, 100%. Total number of sales, I made 18 transactions. I think the average sale for this one was $13, whereas the week before the average sale was closer to $25 per sale, so people weren't spending as much. And bestsellers, let's get into that. Oh, my bestseller, 100% bestseller was my Hogwarts mystery boxes. I sold 8 at this market. I brought 10 with me. I sold 8. that was awesome. I was thrilled with the response to these mystery boxes. People really, really resonated with those. I had them out toward the front of my booth on a smaller folding shelf set that I have. So it was just mystery boxes on this shelf, interspersed with some owls that I had made and spiders. And then they were next to my dragon's nest setup. So a whole Hogwarts area set up. The the dragons and the spiders also did well. No surprises there. But the owls, I was shocked. Not a single owl sold. I was amazed. I had made a medium-sized owl that has like baubles on its chest, super cute. I had sold the same pattern, or a make from the same pattern, the week before at the market. So I had really high hopes. I was like, I gotta make another owl because there goes my Hedwig. So made that, and then made some smaller owls that were a very basic, cute pattern, whipped up super fast. And I had those all interspersed with the mystery boxes, and no one bought an owl. I was shocked. I only had the 4, so I'm glad I didn't lean too hard into that. I'm sure they'll sell at other markets, but very surprised at the Wizard Market. The owls did not sell. So Hogwarts mystery boxes, spiders, dragons. I have a couple different dragon patterns that I sell. The flying dragons from Avalon Crochet from the week before weren't as popular at this one, but still sold well. And then I have these little pocket dragons. Oh my gosh, this pattern. It's the granny square that has been converted into a dragon. So the body is a granny square, and then you make a tail off the back. I'll put a picture again in the blank wall. And then you add a head onto it, and they're so cute. I make them in 2 different sizes. The designer did 2 sizes. Well, she does multiple sizes, but I have the coaster size, which includes like a little ring, so you can slide it on your finger and it's a finger puppet. Or I've done the full puppet size, where you can stick your hand inside the dragon's head, and it's also like a big lovey snuggly plush. So those the little coasters sold well at this market. And then these chunky mushroom boys. I actually did make more of those this week, so I can show you what those are. These little guys. I had 2 of these, a little bit smaller than this, since I made it with Premier, I think, and this is Bernat, but these little guys, super cute. I think the pattern designer is called chunky.crochet, and this is a free pattern on Ribbler or Instagram, and it works up, and they're just adorable. These little chunky mushroom boys. Yeah, sold a couple of those to some best friends. They had to have matching mushrooms, which I thought was cute. What else? Pumpkins. My last Korok. I'll be making more Koroks before the holiday season. And foxes, wolves, and toadmato. Oh my god, that was a pattern I made over the summer for a challenge. I think it was the Share the Love Instagram challenge. And it's a frog. Well, it's not a frog. It's a toad. It's a tomato that you put legs and eye baubles on. So it's a toad. It's a toadmato. And now, I love a pun. So I was so happy this little boy came in to the booth for this, and he initially wanted a pumpkin. He was dead set on the pumpkin. The dad's like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah, I want the pumpkin." And then I had the toadmato sitting up by where I stand, like the register area. And he's like, "No, I want that." And he's like, "You're sure now?" He's like, "Yeah, I have to have that." And I was just so happy and excited to see this little boy excited for this toadmato, because that's the reaction I had to the toadmato. Like, oh my god, I have to make that. It's a tomato and it's a toad. I don't like tomatoes. I don't like toads. But the two together, I was like, 100%, I need that in my life. And this little boy had that same reaction. So I was like, yes, you're going to a good home. I loved that. So yeah, so that was that market. So good start to the market season. A little uneven, but I am very very hopeful for the markets that I have on tap coming up. October, I only have one market because I have some travel scheduled. So I have one market wedged in there. It's a foodie fair, so I'm very excited about that. I have lots of cute foodie makes. I will be making more tomatoes that I have from patterns that I've purchased or found online that I'm excited to showcase at that market, which I'm doing also again in November. And then also in November, I'm doing a sip and shop, which another location I've never been before. That one's in Pittsburgh. The foodie fair is in Raleigh. And what's the third? There's another market I'm doing and I can't remember. Oh, it's in Cary, the Cary Underground Market at a brewery. So that will be fun too. For my upcoming fall markets, lots of lists. I actually went through all of my inventory. I marked in my want to have. So I put in a base stock level for each item in my inventory. It's not the same thing for each thing. So I actually went through and I figured out which is the base stock I want to have for each item in my inventory. And I sorted it all out because I also do items by category and items by season. Because like there's certain things, like I'm not going to sell fruit salad pot holders in the middle of winter, and I'm also not going to sell beanies in the middle of summer. So I have, those are obviously extremes, but I have, theme or mushrooms I want to have in the spring and in the fall. I don't really want to have mushrooms all through the season because then stock tends to look stale. I will probably rotate the patterns that are being made as I go and I do this, but I found that throughout the course of the year, having certain things I can fall back on, but also having those certain things rotate in and out depending on the season works best. So that stock constantly looks fresh. If things aren't selling in a particular season, I don't have to like keep just throwing it out there for people because it might not just be the season for that thing. So, and that's okay. So anyway, I sorted things out by the season and determined what I need to make for each item to have my base fall stock. It came out to 106 items. And my first market for fall is in, I think 2 weeks, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 2.5, somewhere around there. 106 items. So I'm going to be busy. So there's lots to share. Let's do that. The first thing that I made, this actually wasn't one of the things on my list, but it goes with one of the things on my list. So this is a seal. This is a mama seal that is from a YouTube tutorial. Oh my gosh, why can't I remember the names of any of the designers today? I should have wrote this down. It's gone. It's out of my head. It is, but it's also not, and I'm so tempted to just look it up. But anyway, let's focus. Let's lock in. I'll put it down below. I'll link to the pattern. So this is the mama seal. She also has a baby seal pattern. I had made the baby seal last winter. It sold super well. I sold out of all of them. You can see my mama, the pattern is a little bit different for the mama and the baby. This baby is massive because this is Big Twist and this is Bernat. But it's so cute in the light blue. I had to make it. And I go up a hook size when I do Big Twist. I normally do Bernat in a 5.5 because yes, I'm a monster with massive tension. Not massive tension. Massively loose tension. No tension. I have no tension in my crochet. I have all kinds of tension in life. But in crochet, loosey-goosey. So 5.5, I've jumped up to whatever a K is. What is that, 7? I think it's 7. Let's go with 7. Or it's 6.5. Maybe it's 6.5. Anyway, different hook size, slightly bigger yarn, thicker yarn for the Big Twist versus the Bernat. But so cute. Look at them. And I embroider eyes. I almost always embroider eyes just because I cannot fathom the stress of sourcing and then having to keep in stock safety eyes, and then also the like anxiety of them falling out or getting a bad batch. And like I've watched so many videos of makers who have had rotten luck with safety eyes where they just like the backs break or they fall out or whatever. So I do use safety eyes sometimes. Really only on one item I use safety eyes, but for the most part I will embroider my eyes. So very cute. The baby seal I sold last year for either $12 or $15. I can't remember. Probably 12. It's a no-sew item. This one is massive, so it's a heck of a deal for $12, but I won't make this one priced any differently because it takes just the same amount of time to make it. It's just, I used bigger yarn and a bigger hook. The mama, I'll probably sell for $24. There's some sewing involved, a bigger body, so you can see that it's a longer body, more rounds, more yarn. It's probably $24 and $12 for the mama and baby. And then I have some other colors that I did for the babies. They just don't have eyes yet. So, and of course I dropped one, so this is gonna be weird. So I did this one, also in Bernat. It's a variegated, I think this is called weathered wood. I love this so much. I use it to make wolves also, but I thought it would be cute for a little baby seal. And then pink, because I am trying to do the Crochet Roulette 2025 challenge, and one of the weeks, not last week, because I missed last week, I think the week before, was a pink sea creature, pink sea life. So I made a pink seal, which I'll be posting for that challenge as soon as I embroidered the eyes on. So that is the first thing. So my list had 4 seals. I had originally intended them to be 4 baby seals, but then I saw the pattern for the mama and I was like, we need to have a mama seal. So 4 seals. Next in completed makes, I had spiders because it is spooky season. So I made spiders. This pattern is by 2 pattern makers. The name of the pattern is Charlotte the Spider. It's a free Instagram pattern. I will link it below. I think Vanilla Garumi and Amy's Crochet Corner are the 2 pattern designers. If that's not right, I apologize. They will be linked below, but they did a collaboration for this pattern and it is so freaking cute. Look how cute this is. I hate spiders, hate them. Never wanted to make spiders. And then again, Crochet Roulette, first week was variegated yarn and an Australian make. And all I could think of was Australia is that place that has spider season. The spiders descend from the heavens like a plague. And also they live with them in their houses and they like treat them as pets because they take care of all the other nasties. So yeah, spiders. Immediately jumped to mind when I thought Australia. Never been, would love to go, but I've heard it's full of spiders. So anyway, Charlotte the Spider, low sew pattern. The only sewing on this one is the body to the booty. I love the booty. I can't. Every time I make one of these, I can't help myself. I just have to like, you gotta check the booty bounce. Booty. I love it. So yeah, only sewing is the booty to the head or the body. And then again, the fangs are optional, but I mean, spiders, they have to have the little clicky pincher things in my book. And then the legs are just surface crocheted on, and I love how they naturally curve under like this. I love that. Love that about this pattern. The 2 front legs are shorter, the 2 back legs are longer. So cute. And then again, the embroidered eyes. This one was big twist again. That's why it's so big. I sell my spiders for $12 and they just fly right off the shelves. I have not prepped these for public consumption yet. So of course there's fuzz everywhere that I'm picking off, but it's okay. Look at this one. I love this one. I wanted to make a black one. And then I was like, but the eyes won't show up. And then Christine, what's up, Cupcake Crafts yet again, suggested I combine it with this purple. And I think this is my favorite one ever. Like, I love this. Love this spider so much. So cute. And then the green. This is a Bernat Mystical color. I had originally bought this color. I make these sushi rolls. And this color reminded me of wasabi, but it looks so cute for the spider. I just love it. He's like a little deadly poisonous green spider, and I love him. So that's that pattern. I had previously shown you all this one, but then I also made the Chunky Mushroom Boys. I made 4 of those in different colors. So I have Chunky Mushroom Boys and girls. People. And this one, just a variety of different caps for the little chunky mushrooms. I put my little tag on the back. Boop. I get those off of Etsy from a maker, I think out of New York, and they do an amazing job. I found them last year. Love those tags. Highly recommended. I will link them below too. But yep, the little mushroom guys, super cute. I put blush on these ones because they're bashful. And then the last completed make that I have for this week is I had been doing floral and leaf coasters throughout the rest of the year. I have sunflowers, a wildflower bouquet, monstera leaves, succulents, but I decided I needed to do pumpkins for fall. I love these. I'll bring them a little bit closer so you can see these are actually 3 different colors. We have a light green one, a golden pumpkin, and then a white pumpkin. I love white pumpkins and green pumpkins. And it's a coaster, and it's super cute. I love how they pop up. So when your drink is sitting on the coaster, the pumpkins are visible. I love that. So I made 2 sets of coasters. And I've got orange ones. Each one has 4 different colors that I mixed in for the pumpkins. So this one was orange, gold, white, well, off-white, and green. And then I did a variety of brown and tan for the actual coaster itself. Super cute, super easy. I love this. These will sell for $16 for the set of 4 coasters, and I love them. The pattern came off of another YouTube tutorial. This one is from Mushy. Love her tutorials. She has such lovely, lovely tutorials. I did her, she has a sunflower one that I used to make AirPod cases. I will show those in another video. But yeah, Mushy, go give her videos a look. Very cute, very beginner friendly, very easy, lovely, well done patterns and tutorials. So that's that set. And then I did a second set with a variegated orange for the pumpkin. And all of this one was done with the lighter tan base. So we have the variegated orange and then the gold, white, and green again, because I love pumpkins when they're not orange. I mean, I love an orange pumpkin, but I love pumpkins when they're not orange too. So yay, $16 I'll sell these for. And yeah, those will be great for fall markets as well. I have some other things that I've made, but they are not finished, so I will probably show those next time. Thank you for hanging out with me today for all the chaos and the awkwardness of my first video. And I hope to see you again soon. Bye.